After a short break for the holiday season, we say welcome back and welcome along to the United States Grand Prix. It's round 19 of season 15 in the Wheel2wheel Racing AL2 Championship. And today we could see both the drivers and constructors titles decided, so the pressure will be on here as we're in the great state of Texas, which is the second largest and most populous of the 50 states. And they love their racing in this part of the country, and what a venue they've built for us to enjoy. It's the Circuit of the Americas, 3.4-mile circuit with 20 corners, 11 to the left and 9 to the right, 2 DRS zones and a kilometer-long back straight, which will be the best overtaking opportunity down into turn 12. We're going to have 56 laps of racing after qualifying today, and our tires are in the middle of the Pirelli range, the C2, C3, and the C4. Soft C4 tire is about 1.3 seconds quicker than the mediums and about 1.9 seconds quicker than the hards. A lot of strategies will come into play, and with both titles possibly to be decided, we look forward to another exciting race here at Wheel2Wheel Racing. We are underway in qualifying.
Yeah, we should see some exciting action here. Critical decision the drivers need to make right now as to what tyres they are going to start on. Looks like in the practice session we was just in, a couple of the drivers looking at what strategies they can play, and you could do a 3-stop or a 2-stop, but the 2-stop looks to be about 2 seconds quicker if you can maintain your tyres. So we have Sega Dakars out the garage first, looking to set his first lap. Quite tricky here around America with the track limits. Very easy to invalidate your qualifying lap, and also very easy to pick up some warnings and penalty points. So we'll have to see how that will affect the final standings as the race goes through. Last season we had a pole time of a 1:32.4, but again in the practice session I've already seen some times as low as 1:31.0. So let's see what our drivers can do in this session. Quite a few cars coming out on track. We have 11 drivers for this session today. So we begin to ride on board with Sega Dakars racing for Williams as he comes around the final corner, coming down the start-finish straight, which is a DRS straight. Uphill up into turn 1, heavy braking, a lot of incidents we'll see here during the race, especially on lap 1. Good clean exit, and then we've got a high-speed section with a good flow of S corners here. Again, really hard to try and keep it within the track limits, but you can gain and lose a lot of speed there. You've got to have good flow to get through. So coming round turn 10 now. Critical exit here on turn 11. Very wide track here, but you need to get the exit perfect because you're coming now down onto the biggest straight of the track. Got your best opportunity for overtake down here, assisted with the DRS. Have to cover off on the inside, coming down into turn 12 here. Sega Dakars taking it really well as we come now entering into sector 3, which is a very slow technical sector, full of tight little kinks where each corner exit flows onto the next corner entry, and it's very tricky to keep your back end traction there. As we now come round the long curve of 16, 17 and 18. Here we see Raikkonen and Verstappen coming together on the final lap in the USA Grand Prix. Downhill to turn 20 into heavy braking, left hand corner, into the DRS activation zone and across the line, and Sega Dakars with a 1:34.9. I think he probably can do a lot better than that. He seemed to go quite slow through the S's on that first sector.
Yeah, probably just taking it easy, make sure he kept it within track limits. We saw the back end slide out a little bit in sector 3 as we see Dastardly on the softs go quickest at a 1:32.397.
Still a lot of time to be made up here. A lot of the drivers looking like they're opting for the soft tyres. And Bannister popping in a potential pole time there as a 1:31.3. As I said, low 1:31s. So that is a phenomenal time. A second quicker than second place holder Dastardly. Still, we've got a lot of time left in this session, so we'll see how that time board progresses through the session. So let's pull up the tyre graphic. So Sega, he did set the slowest time so far, but he is on the medium compound, whereas everybody else who has set a time is on the softs. Old Dad's crosses the line. He had invalidated his lap, so he doesn't set a time yet. There you go, must be carrying some extra fuel because it looks like he is about to go again. So who have we got? Right, we have one of the Renaults crossing the line, which is CHM, putting it into fourth with the 1:33.0.
Smooth lap from CHM. CHM will be looking to have a good result today as both him and his teammate Mikey get good results. They could wrap up the Constructors' Championship today.
Yeah, Constructors' Championship is possible to grab today. It will be difficult. It mostly require all the other teams to DNF, but they are pretty safe from Mercedes. But Ferrari still in contention of the Constructors.
Yeah, I think at the front of Mikey's mind won't be the Constructors' Championship, it'll be the Drivers' Championship, because as long as he beats Bannister and Dastardly in today's race, he will be the Season 15 AL2 champion.
Although, knowing Mikey, having been a teammate with him for a couple of seasons here at Wheel2wheel, I think he'll be trying to push that to the back of his mind, because if it's at the front of his mind, it's just going to create pressure for him. But he's pretty safe. 4 races left to go. So at the moment there are 104 points up for grabs, and he is currently 80 points in front of Bannister, so it's very doable, but any unforced errors on his part could cost him dearly in this title race.
Yeah, and this is a track that requires a lot of precision and consistency, so any pressure the drivers might be feeling on top of what they already have to deal with will make it extremely difficult to get through this race today.
So a lot of people just reset that. I did see Appleplex leave the session. I don't know if he managed to get back in yet or not. And I've got a weather report courtesy of the Renault garage, and we have cloudy qualifying session and then full clear dry race. Just to mention, Old Dad's put in a good time then, 1:31.7, provisionally holding second place. Who's he got coming behind him? He's got CHM, but Old Dad's moved out the way for CHM. But it looks like they're both going to be coming in. So who else do we have out on track?
Chewy is out on the mediums at the moment, but he's invalidated his current lap. We have a few drivers coming around their out laps on fresh softs.
Yep, Dazzy Bond, number 1 fan. He's just starting his lap. That is AKA Strident. So if you was to look at our standings, you would see him as Strident. Dastardly also starting a new lap. Prev just coming round, starting a fresh lap, as you say. Chewy looks like he's going to be going again on his medium compound tyres.
And a purple sector 1 for Strident.
I think Mikey was saying that round this track he's more concerned about old dads and Strident beating him here than he is his championship rivals Dastardly and Bannister. So into sector 3 with Strident. Again, this is a slow technical section. A couple of different lines that you can take, but your corner exit impedes your corner entry for your next corner. High speed flat out section here. And coming around the final corner, he's used all of his errors that he's allowed. And he invalidates just at the end.
Just a little wide. And now we have Dastardly coming
around. It did look
around.
like a 132, so it wouldn't have affected his position.
Dastardly improves and is up to second. Big day for the Ferrari team if they want to stay alive in the constructors battle. Dastardly putting in a good lap there.
Prev improves by a second, putting him into fourth with a 132.3. Chewy improved his time then, I think he did.
I believe so. Chewy just going around on the mediums.
Mikey, our championship leader, not yet set a time. He did come out the pits, but I think he invalidated. So he came back in. Appleplex, I do wonder if he managed to reconnect to the session after his disconnection. That was really unfortunate for Strident as well, because he now would invalidate this lap and his fuel lights on, meaning he's going to have to abort this attempt, come back into the garage, possibly put some fresh tyres on, refuel, try again.
And he missed the pits. Oh.
Don't know what happened there. I don't think he'll be happy that I was on him at the time.
Sega Takaz coming around the last couple of corners. He improved through the first two sectors. Can he move up from 9th all the way up to 5th? Good lap from the Williams driver.
2.3 seconds faster. Fair play. Rev's coming around, coming in, as is Dastardly, as is Chewy by the looks of it. Bannister is out on an out lap, still holding that provisional pole. Is that Mikey? No, Mikey's still in the garage. 4 minutes to go. He's going to have one attempt at this if he leaves it much longer. CHM is on an outlap, but we could ride on board with Bannister. Current pole sitter for this session.
A little wide at turn 1.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was just my camera angle or...
Still got a lot of opportunities to make up time if he may have lost some at turn 1 though.
Not the tidiest line through sector 1. It's very difficult to get that flow. It's either right or it's invalidated 9 times out of 10 if you want speed through there.
He has not improved through Sector 2, so...
No, 4 temps down. He's going to have to go again if he wants to try and extend his lead to pole position. Did spot that Mikey has now come out. Bannister is going again. That looks like a tidier turn 1 from Bannister. Oh, and that looks at better S's there as well. Oh, but he's 3 temps down from his previous time. He is 4 temps quicker than the next driver, but that's not what he's going to be wanting to see. Mikey now starting his flying lap for Renault. So as I said, Mikey's concern was for Old Dads and Strident, but it's looking like his championship rivals are locking out the front row at the moment.
Yeah, it's a big lap for Mikey here. If he wants to win this championship today, he's got to get himself further up the grid.
I haven't been clocking the sector times as much as I normally would, so I'll have no gauge to see how his lap is in comparison to the rest of the field. A letdown estate improves his time there, and he puts him into 8th place with a 1:33.0. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3 as well. Hopefully that won't impede Mikey. He carries on a 1:01. Coming through the final part of sector 2. Ooh, I think he was hesitant on the traction there because he knows that that's a difficult part to get right. As we head down now to the final corner, how is our championship leader?
Very wide.
Oh, and certainly it's not what he would have wanted.
Certainly not his best.
Right, Old Dads has put it into 2nd place with 1:31.6, and he had a purple sector 3. THM is just coming round now. He improves but stays 8th with a 1:32.5. Who else do we have out on track?
Dastardly coming around.
He's coming round the final sector now, but he invalidates.
Oh, and Dastardly's backed off. So has Mikey.
They all look like they're backed off. That's pretty strange. Set for Strident. Strident still looks like he's going for it. He got a purple sector 2. I'm sure I said 1:01 for Mikey as well, so maybe Mikey lost it all in the final sector, where he couldn't get the traction down here, where Strident has got it down.
A good exit there. If he can nail these last 2 corners, he might have a chance to move himself up the grid.
He's possibly looking at a top 3.
Absolutely nailed turn 19. Good exit here.
Ooh.
Doesn't quite get enough to move himself from 4th.
As you said, Dastardly's backed up. And Old Dads is not setting a new lap time there. So that might be our final standing.
So then a lot of work for our championship leader to do if he is to win the Drivers' Championship today, with his 2 championship rivals, one of them on pole and the other in 3rd.
As you say, it's a long race, 56 laps. It's a lot of track limits. Turn 1 can be heavy for incidents, especially lap 1 or any safety car restart. I've seen many of accidents here in Wheel2wheel over the seasons.
Yeah.
So anything can happen. and Mikey is good for keeping out of the penalties. So hopefully that will automatically put him up a few places through the race.
So it looks like everybody, bar Chewy, in the top 10 is on the soft tire. So we could see them doing a 2-stop or even a 3-stop. Those soft tires will probably go somewhere around 15 laps, 18 laps on that first stint on those worn soft tires from qualifying.
So as we finish our session now, the standings are: Bannister is in pole position with a 131.3. Then we have Old Dads in second, Dastardly in third, Strident in fourth, Sega DeCos in fifth, Prev in sixth, Just Mikey is seventh, CHM is eighth, Letdown Estate is ninth, Chewy is 10th, and Appleplex is 11th, having not set a time, but he did disconnect from the session. So we'll have to see what happened there.
We're just a couple minutes away from lights out here. And it'll be interesting to see the focus on the Drivers' Championship. But Mikey is always one to have sort of an alternate strategy up his sleeve, and at a track where 3 or 4 different strategies can really come into play. Curious to see how his race will go and what he chooses to do.
Yes. So as you mentioned, the championship battle, I can look at the standings. I can tell you that Mikey is obviously, as we say, in first place with 4 rounds left to go. Mikey's 13 podiums, 3 wins, and 5 fastest laps, which is earned of 305 points. Second place, we have Bannister, who has won 10 podiums, 2 wins, and 1 fastest lap, scoring him 225 points, which puts him 80 behind Just Mikey. Third, but he is one. With 7 podiums, 2 wins, and 19. So there are, in the last 4 races, 104 points up for grabs. So them 3 drivers mentioned is still in contention for the title. However, if Mikey can finish in front of Bannister and Dastardly, that will guarantee him the AL2 Season 15 Driver Championship. So if he was to finish this race, he needs to be 78 points or more ahead, and he's currently 80 points ahead. So as long as he can finish in front of Bannister and Dastardly, it doesn't matter if he comes 7th. As long as he's in front of them, that will win him the title. So, and for the constructors, we've got a slightly similar story. Renault, with 14 podiums, 3 wins, and 5 fastest laps between Mikey and CHM, they're scoring a 415 points. Ferrari, with 8 podiums, 2 wins, 2 fastest laps, have got 321 points, and that's 94 behind Renault. And with the last 4 races to go, we've got 176 points up for grabs. So it's still anybody's constructors there. And Mercedes, with 12 podiums, 2 wins, and 1 fastest lap, have got 283 points, which puts them 132 behind Renault. Now, after this race, there will be 132 points left to win. So again, if Renault finish in front of both Mercedes drivers, they are automatically out of the championship race, leaving only Ferrari. Now, I think Dastardly and the Letdown Estate will have a good show here at Circuit of Americas. So I think the Constructors' Battle may continue after this round, but the Drivers' title is all yet to be decided, which may be decided here today.
Yep, we are in the business end of the season, that is for sure. So a lot of championship discussion, a lot of math for us to do throughout this race to see how this season's gonna shape out, but really exciting
Well,
times nonetheless.
this is where Hamilton won his championship in 2019.
Yes.
I think, did he come second to Bottas, but he still won?
Yes.
So, you never know, Mikey could be simulating the same story here for himself. Except for Mikey, it'll be his first championship rather than his sixth.
Yeah.
So tell me what you were saying about the circuit earlier, Matt. You were saying that this track has been made up of a few
Yeah.
favourite corners from other tracks.
Yeah, so it's a relatively new circuit, opened in 2012, so when it was being designed, it drew a lot of inspiration from other tracks around the world that were loved by both drivers and fans. And you see straight away at turn one, very similar turn one to Spa, La Source, and very tight corner. It just goes the other way instead of going right. It's a sharp left-hander, and then later in Sector 1 you see a very similar sequence of corners than that of Maggots and Beckett's at Silverstone, one of the best corner sequences that we see in Formula 1. And later in the lap you see turns, I believe it's 16, 17, 18, very similar to turn 8 at Istanbul Park that we saw in the Turkish Grand Prix this year. That's a famous corner, and they've just sort of cut and pasted different parts of different tracks and put it all on the same circuit here in America, and it really is a fantastic track to drive because of that.
You mentioned Turkey, Istanbul. It just surprises me in the real F1 that the season that we've had with such great variety of tracks that we've almost returned to the same F1 calendar the year after, albeit possibly going to change as we look at a delay for the Australian Grand Prix.
Yeah. I'm sure there will be changes to the 2021 calendar as we go along, but hopefully we get back to the Western Hemisphere races.
Yes.
I really like Canada, USA, Mexico, and Brazil all usually produce some good races.
Feels like a very long 5 minutes today.
This is a very long break, but
everybody's getting all the cobwebs out from the Christmas break.
I think the anticipation is building as we are just a few seconds away from our formation lap. Could be a big day here for Wheel2wheel and AL2, as one of our veterans, Just Mikey, could win his first Drivers' Championship.
Yeah, Mikey's been driving with us for quite a while as well, so it's his time to shine.
Yeah, always great to see someone like Mikey improving year after year and then getting the opportunity to go for a Drivers' Championship. So we wish him well, but he'll have a lot to do as we see his closest championship rival leading the formation lap put it on pole in qualifying. He'll be looking to delay Mikey's celebrations as long as possible for that championship fight.
Yeah, Banish has shown some incredible pace there, 4/10 quicker than any of the other drivers. So old Dad's putting in a really good show as well to put it in front of the Ferrari of Dastardly, who put in a very good respectable time, all times quicker than our last season time. So that just shows how the cars and the drivers progress as the years go through. So Dazzy Bond, number one fan, also known as Strident, taking the 4th place position. Sega for Williams is in 5th. Prev racing for Red Bull in 6th. Our championship leader in 7th. I've got a feeling he won't be in 7th for long, but just hope any lap 1 incidents don't cost too much towards any championship battle. We wouldn't want anybody to win or lose through incidents. His teammate just behind him, CHM in 8th, a letdown estate in 9th, Chewy for Alpha in 10th, the only car on the medium tyres, and Appleplex looks like he has got running. Hopefully, has he? I'll have to see when his car comes to the line, see if he's in AI control. But they come round now to take their starting positions on the grid.
Yeah, it's not the longest run up to turn 1, but it's a really difficult braking zone and a really tight corner, so we hope there's no incidents, but it's always likely here at the Circuit of the Americas. So we've got 11 drivers, we've got a possible title decider on our hands. Mikey's starting 7th, he's got to make his way up the field if he wants to claim his title today. 5 lights are on. Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing in Texas, boys! Bannister gets away well, covering off the racing point of Old Dad's, but Old Dad's challenging up the inside. Bannister able to keep his lead.
We see some carbon fibre towards the back somewhere between our championship leader and a letdown estate. A lot of people getting through Sector 1 pretty clean. We're looking like we've got all of our cars still in the race. Mikey is not having a good time. He's dropped down now to 10th place.
Yeah, not the start our championship leader would have wanted. As Appleplex and a letdown estate bumping wheels.
But Appleplex is an AI car, I believe. Yes. So Appleplex was not able to rejoin the session. So Bannister having a really good start. Starting to build a lead on Old Dad's, whilst Dastardly is chasing down the racing point of Old Dad's.
Oh, and Dastardly and Old Dad's going side by side into Sector 3.
Is Dastardly going to keep that position? He's got the inside line, and it looks like he has.
It's so difficult to keep the traction there, as Dastardly didn't have the greatest entry angle, but he's able to make it stick.
Dastardly used all of his ERS on that opening lap. So he's got no battery power to defend from Old Dad's now.
Yeah, and the more battling that happens for second place, the happier Bannister will be, as he's already 2 seconds clear after the first lap.
Old Dad's now looking to take the inside at turn 1. Dastardly having a look around the long way. And Old Dad's gets the moves done. You'll have to excuse the timing board whilst it just has its usual lap 2 fit. Have to do everything by eye. We've got Dastardly still chasing down Old Dad's.
Mikey's still behind a letdown estate. Not been able to make up that place since he lost it on lap 1.
See him back on that camera angle there. But Dastardly is looking at the right side of Old Dad's rules and is looking to get the move done around the outside. He's off the track, so he's going to have to surrender, but he's got Dazzy Bomb
Dastardly coming
striding
back, and he saves it from a spin.
That was so close.
Dastardly coming back at the racing point there. Nearly ended in catastrophe.
I'd just say all of this is just playing into Bannister's hands as he's able to extend his lead. Sega to Cars is now looking to join this battle for second place. So hopefully now our timing board resets. And we have overtake activated this lap. It won't be that DRS zone, but the next DRS zone, they will be able to use it.
So then it looks like we're going to have a bit of a DRS train behind Old Dad's. There's 3 cars all within a second of each other. Likely some intense battles to come as Strident gets the first penalty of the day and Dastardly challenging into turn 11, forcing Old Dads to go defensive on the inside.
Dastardly going the long way, might have a better exit speed coming up to this DRS zone. Old Dads won't have DRS because he was the lead car, but he's struggling with that straight line speed.
Oh, and here comes Strident down the inside. They're going 3 wide into turn 12. Oh, but Strident just backs out of it.
And Old Dads loses twice there to Dastardly and Strident.
Oh, and the Ferrari getting a bit loose.
Oh, very
and
loose.
He's off.
That is not what the Ferrari driver wanted.
So unlucky for Dastardly. It was great battling all the way through. But he's just not able to keep it under control. And he's dropped back
and he's
to
away
11th.
again. And now his wings, he's missing half of his wing. Struggling with the traction from all the grass on his wheels, so I need to get off him now because he's going to curse me if he watches that. And I'm just looking at his car spinning. So we go back. Bannister now with a 4-second lead on Strident, who has already been awarded a penalty. We've got Old Dads right behind him, also Sega to Cos involved in that race. Then we have a short gap back to Prez, where they've got CHM, a lap down state, and our championship leader, just Mikey, for company.
Yeah, Mikey will want to be clearing these cars at some point in this first stint. There's a letdown of State and CHM doing some battling through the tight sector 1. And that might have compromised the letdown of State's exit a little bit as they come towards turn 11.
I think it did, and Mikey took the inside line and took the position.
Oh, and Mikey's getting really close to his teammate there.
And Mikey will have DRS on CHM. CHM being his teammate will hopefully not make it too difficult for him to make the pass. He looks down the inside. And he completes the move, but CHM's having a look back on the inside.
Oh, he's really battling his teammate there, and it's cost him the position against the letdown of State, maybe.
Oh.
He's able to defend against the Ferrari. Well, I'm sure Mikey
just needs to know that he's got a driver's title to win here.
I'm sure Mikey would have appreciated some team orders there. CHM battling all the way, kept it clean, but Mikey not able to clear his teammate.
Fastest lap going to Strident, who's just took 5 tenths out of Bannister. Bannister had a 4-second lead. Now he's only got 3.5, but that is closing again as Mikey went awfully close to the gearbox of his teammate there. His Old Dads now picks up a penalty. Racing Point not doing too well on the track limits here.
Yeah, they've got themselves in good positions on the track, but just got to keep it on the track or it's going to cost them later in the race. Those penalties.
Just Mikey not getting a great exit there because of his teammate's car being in the way. Will have DRS, overtake and slipstream to aid him, chase him down into turn 12 to get the job done. And he does. He's further ahead of his teammate this time for his teammate to just take the inside line back.
Oh, and a letdown of State right on the back of CHM now. But Mikey's able to clear his teammate, and now his focus will be further up the road to try and catch Prev.
The big gap now between just Mikey and Bannister. When it's still a long race, another 50 laps to go. the Racing Point team looking very strong here in the USA.
Mikey gaining on Prev, getting within that 1 second window, which will help him massively down the back straight to get DRS.
Yeah, and more importantly, CHM won't have DRS on Mikey, so we won't have too much pressure from behind whilst he's trying to get the move done on Prev. And Prev won't have DRS assistance because he's too far back from Sega.
Now Mikey
Have a look.
a bit further back than he was against his teammate last lap, so he's not able to get the move done into turn 12.
Mikey currently 11 seconds behind his championship rival Bannister. As Sega has now also got a penalty. So then faster guys at the front all being hit with penalties, so that's going to affect their finishing place. They might be ahead right now, but they might not be ahead come the final standings. Mikey not using his overtake. Mikey's normal strategy is to just sort of use the DRS a few times, get close to the back, save all your overtake for a real opportunity as Strident picks up another penalty. But Strident now 2.7 seconds behind Bannister, so he is closing that gap. Whether Bannister's taking it easy to just try and maintain his tyres.
Yeah, track limits also might be something on Bannister's mind. Might just be taking it easy through Sector 1, keeping it between the white lines.
You know, Strident's got fastest lap, Strident's got a pace advantage on Bannister, but Strident's also got penalties. Mikey with DRS, closing into Prev, is he?
He's just using his overtake now.
I think he's not in the car fitted with Daniel Ricciardo's brake pedal, but he's having a look around the outside, coming round turn 15.
Great driving from Prev there to keep it under control.
Letdown Estate also still in a battle with CHM. Mikey's a lot closer this time round, coming into the first DRS zone. But Prev has got some traction coming out of that lap final corner. Not able to get the job done. Also coming round Sector 1, Mikey's going to have dirty air to contend with, coming round that high speed S's. Ooh, and better exit there, and Mikey's getting the job done before the DRS activation point, so that'll be interesting. Which one of these cars is going to get DRS as Dastardly set the fastest lap? I think neither of the cars got DRS.
Mikey has got his DRS open, and he's able to get in front of Prev into the braking zone. Our championship leader making his way forward, now up to 5th.
After losing a couple positions at the start, he's made them back and then some. Mikey's next target is Sega de Cos. But he's lost time to Bannister in trying to get past Prev, now 12.7 seconds behind. A letdown estate, a lot closer this time round to CHM. Got his DRS open coming up to turn 1. Not enough to get anything done on this occasion, but he's losing a lot of traction on the back there.
Now CHM might have an opportunity here, as Prev has dropped back from Mikey enough so that Prev won't have DRS, but CHM and a Letdown Estate both will as they come into turn 11.
Well, Mikey's just been awarded a 3-second penalty. That might cost him in this race. We'll let down Estate with DRS on CHM, but CHM's got DRS on Prev. It seems like he's got a better straight line speed.
Prev going defensive, covering off the inside, and doing enough to keep the position round turn 12.
I was just about to say, I'm sure lap 1 I seen some carbon fibre at turn 1, and I just spotted Prev has no end plate on the left side of his front wing. Oh, and Mikey is already caught up with Sega. I didn't even see that.
Great pace from Mikey, wow. Is Mikey gonna go for it into turn 11? He's going down the inside.
That was how he done his move on Prev before. But he's also going to have DRS to try and run away. And Chewy's joining the battle behind as well. And just Mikey keeping that position ahead, and CHM is lucky to have a go on the inside of Prev. Got the inside line and he closes the door on Prev on the outside. Prev was not able to take that outside line, and Prev is now tangling with a Letdown Estate. For that 7th position has CHM inherited 6th. Some great battles going on here today. Oh, and Prev went very deep there.
Yeah, I think he might be struggling with the loss of downforce as Letdown Estate's able to take advantage and is alongside him as they climb the hill up towards turn 1.
Side by side, coming up. Prev having to take the long way around. Oh, and Letdown Estate takes the door off him, shuts the door. Chewy just out of the pits. It was a really early pit for the medium tyres, so I'm not sure if he had any wing damage to repair there.
So now our championship leader Mikey up into 4th, but a 9.5 second gap between him and the racing point of Old Dad's Rule.
Let's have a look at the penalty situation.
Really, for the first time all race, Mikey will have clean air ahead of him, so he can get his head down and try to close this gap.
But Bannister in a really strong position here, because although Strident has closed that gap behind, Strident, Old Dads both have 6 seconds of penalties. Mikey has 3 seconds and Sega has 3 seconds, so everybody behind him is going to
Mikey
be...
is in. Mikey and Sega to cause, both the first of the soft runners, as well as Prev now in the Red Bull. So some
Probably
early
happy to
pit
get in and
stops.
have a wing change. So Mikey onto softs, Sega onto mediums. Prev also onto softs. So Mikey, having had fresh air, he wanted fresh tyres instead.
Yeah, and he's still got a clear track ahead of him, so this might be a good decision for Mikey. He's got fresh tires, clear air. He can really make up some time on those top three that all stayed out on their old soft tires.
It's also helping Dastardly get back into the race because he obviously was quite far back after this incident at the start where he came off the track. But that's now put him back in the race, and the letdown estate is very close to the back of CHM now.
Bannister's coming and put on mediums. And
Yes,
CHM.
that's probably in response to Mikey coming in, I'd like to think. Strident also in, doing the same. Well, I can hear cars come down, let down estate, inheriting third from them pit stops. That's not going to help Strident. Chewy setting the fastest lap, the 1:37.6. So this is where the race gets interesting. As you said at the start, a few different strategies could work here, so it all depends which works better for the driver.
Now Strident coming out of the pits behind a letdown estate will have an opportunity here down the back straight to make that position back. He's got overtake, he's got DRS. Should be getting this done comfortably before the braking zone, and he is up to third.
Yeah, although he's on the slower compound, he's got much more tyre depth on that than a letdown estate will have on his 12-lap old softs. Oh, and Prev making his way past. Car of a letdown Appleplex.
And a letdown estate pulls into the pits for his first stop. Mikey takes the fastest lap on those fresh soft tires.
This will be interesting to see how the difference between second stop being mediums or softs between Bannister and Mikey. Prev now takes the fastest lap. Like CHM also pitted because he's now back on track around a letdown estate. So as it stands, the championship battle will continue into the next round, with Bannister in second and Mikey in fourth. Mikey needs to score same or more points than Bannister.
I think as it stands though, this would put Dastardly out of contention.
Yes.
Dastardly
Really
having
well.
a great qualifying, but just a little bit of a spin in the opening laps has cost him. He's been down in 11th.
The letdown estate's feeling the pressure from CHM on the softer compound. Oh, and the letdown estate went very deep there on the corner exit. CHM with DRS and overtake, and they moved to the inside, but a letdown estate was moving there to defend. Great reactions there from our drivers. Could have very easily had a coming together there, but they saw it, responded, and kept the cars on track. We now have a similar battle with Chewy and Sega to Cos. Prev's joining the CHM battle, and CHM's dropped back from a letdown estate now. But let's flick back up to Chewy, who's looking to get the job done on the inside down into turn 12. Can he stop in time as he locks up his front left? But he gets the job done. But Prev is also past CHM. Similar move down into turn 12 on the inside. Oh, and a letdown estate picks up his first 3-second penalty. And Mikey picks up the fastest lap with a 1:36.4. So a letdown estate, Prev and CHM starting their next lap, and Prev is looking to get past the letdown estate, but he's also got CHM right behind him to catch any mistake. Letdown estate still on the medium compound tyres, so he won't have the same traction as the two cars behind him on the soft tyres. Oh no, and Prev just took too much there, didn't brake in time, and he's lost the position to CHM after touching the inside wheel of a letdown estate. But now CHM is looking to have a go at a letdown estate also. But a letdown estate doesn't let him take the move.
That's great driving from a letdown estate to go defensive, cover off the inside, and maintain good speed through turn 12.
Old Dads is in the pits, but Strident has now caught Bannister. After coming out of the pits and being held up by a letdown estate, Strident is now back on the case. DHM looking to have another go at a letdown estate, but gets the job done early on this time. No need for some reaction defending.
Yeah, felt like that one may have been inevitable with CHM on the soft tire. It's going to have more grip and more pace. But if a letdown estate can stick within DRS, you might be able to fight back a little bit.
And Strident is having a look on the inside down turn 12 on a race leader Bannister, and he takes the position. DRS assistance has enabled him to get the race lead off Bannister. So Strident now starting his first lap leading here at USA. Needing to get at least 6 seconds clear if he wanted the net win, because at the moment he is in first place, but after deduction of penalties he will be down in second. Bannister will have DRS coming down the long straight in sector 2. Looks as though he has dropped back a little bit from Strident, but as he got the straight line speed to catch him before turn 12, I think he's going to be too far back. But it's allowed him to close that gap right up, and he's now back on the tail of Strident.
Oh, and a little bit of contact.
Too much on the tail.
And there is damage on the front wing of the Mercedes. That is not what he would have wanted. As now Mikey's continued to close the gap. And the championship is just closer and closer for Mikey as this race goes on.
Too early on the medium stints to just change your wing as part of your pit strategy. Bannister now nearly 2 seconds down from Strident. Let's hope he can make a change that can get him back on the pace.
And soon he'll have Old Dads to deal with, as Old Dads in the Racing Point put on a set of fresh soft tires and got the fastest lap of the race. He is within a second of Bannister already, in a purple sector 1 for the Racing Point.
He's got the hunger for it. He can see the injured Mercedes in front of him. But he picks up a time penalty in all that excitement. 2 steps forward, 3 steps back.
Should be able to get the move done here as Bannister more or less just getting out of the way. Nothing much he could do to defend that one.
What's he going to do with this damage? Mikey now only 4.5 seconds behind Bannister, and yeah, Bannister is his target. And it's funny because Mikey did say that he was more worried about Strident than Old Dads, who are now first and second.
Yeah, he's a fortune teller. And see how much Bannister has to lift off through 16, 17, and 18. Normally a flat-out corner, and he's surely got to come in, and he is.
Yeah.
Losing so much time.
He lost at least 5 seconds that lap.
So unlucky.
He was first.
And as it stands, just Mikey will be our Season 15 champion today.
Yes. Bannister putting on a set of soft tyres, so could he go soft to the end? Probably not. He could go soft medium. So Bannister coming out in 9th place. That's really wounded his chances at the driver's title.
Now we have a little battle between teammates for the lead here, as Old Dads has got DRS on Strident in front. Down the back straight they go, and Old Dad's closing that gap, but he's going for it down the inside.
Old Dads is on the softer tyres.
Good defensive driving from Strident to stay ahead. Old Dad's sending it again.
He sent that.
And he's got the job done. Very aggressive attacking on his teammate, but he's taken the race lead.
Risky overtaking your teammate like that. It would have been better to have some team orders as Strident picks up another penalty. It's not looking good for the penalties on these two drivers.
Now then, Bannister in some traffic here in Sector 3 with Prev and a letdown of State in front of him. We'll be looking to clear these two and try and make up the ground that he's lost.
Strident already on 12 seconds of penalties. If he picks up another corner cutting penalty, that will be an automatic position drop from the end of the race.
Now then,
Old Dad's on 9.
Prev having a look at the inside. Oh, and Bannister having to go really wide there, not able to make a move, but he's having a look at Prev as they come into the
Bannister
SEC.
escaped out of that one then.
Yeah. He's a little late on the brakes and just bailed out.
I'm not sure if Bannister's coping too well on the fresh tyres and the dirty air. It seems to be not holding much traction around that sector 1. Oh. And Old Dads and Strident are at it again.
Eldad's able to fend off his teammate and keep the race lead.
Oh, Prev's going around the outside, down into turn 12. I don't think that was an intentional move, but... Lovely shot as we come round turn 16, 17, 18 there. Bannister, I think, is getting really aggressive trying to get past these cars. Yeah. Must be getting agitated being held up by them. As Prev is having a look on the inside in turn 1. Can he make the turn? He can. Letdown Estate is having a look back on the inside. But Prev keeps the position.
Letdown Estate trying a little switchback there, but not able to get a good enough exit to challenge Prev into turn 2, and Prev's able to make up the position. And I think that was Prev's best defense against Bannister, was to overtake a Letdown Estate. So now he's got that buffer, but...
We got Old Dads and Strident just constantly battling down that long straight in sector 2. They're just going at it. And we're also missing Bannister, just overtook and Letdown Estate.
Old Dad's coming back at his teammate into turn 20. He's having a peek at the inside.
I know, and a Letdown Estate gets another penalty.
Old Dad's another one.
Bannister back on the case with Prev. Looks to be a much easier job on the inside down past turn 1.
Now CHM in the sights of the Mercedes.
A beautiful flow through sector 1 there from Bannister, earning him a purple sector 1.
And he's going to send it down the inside at turn 11. Great move from Bannister.
But he was behind at the activation zone, which means he has DRS to run away. But all this is damage control from him having to do an unnecessary pit for wing damage. So it made up a few lost positions there, but a long way to go before he can get back to his championship rival Mikey. Old Dad's still on the case of Strident. It's soon going to be that time where the tyre wear is going to be leaning more in Strident's favour as a Letdown Estate gets another penalty. I think he's been rattled because now he's on 9 seconds. But the 2 Racing Point drivers have got 12 seconds each. One more penalty from each of these drivers and they will be dropping a position. As it stands, Mikey inclusive of penalties, is the race leader.
Now we have battles all over the place, and now we have one between Prev and CHM, as Prev will have DRS down the back straight.
Ooh, and the letdown estate struggling for traction in the background there.
CHM able to stay in front.
Prev, just like his teammate, with more ERS control. Prev using his reserves. Dastardly, even though he had... Is he pitted again? Let's check. No. Although he is on 19 lap old mediums, I'd suffer in this race from that early pit stuff. He's still yet to regain many positions. Mikey on 12 lap old softs seems to be teetering around the 4-second mark from old Dad's. He probably gained more time when the two Racing Point cars was having a battle.
Yeah, old Dad's just banking some overtake now, sitting within that 1 second DRS window of his teammate, but he hasn't really challenged him the last couple laps. And
Tyres
Bannister
still looking pretty well on just Mikey. Did I just see an overtake there?
Bannister got past Sega to cause down at turn 12.
You just have to butt in. I'm probably talking too much.
Bannister up into 5th. Still a pretty sizable gap between himself and Mikey, but
Yeah,
he's made up
seconds.
he's made up some positions, so any sort of safety car that bunches up the pack would be a huge benefit to him to challenge Mikey.
Prev in the pits, 13 laps on them soft tyres, onto another set of soft tyres. There was Prev's gone soft so far, hasn't he? Doing about 13 laps on each, so I'm betting Mikey is going to be looking for a pit soon again as well. I'm betting Mikey's on a similar strategy to Prev. Because if you look at the tyre difference between Mikey and Bannister, that will tell you that Bannister's likely to be gaining on Mikey. And as long as Mikey can fit it in with his strategy, the sooner he pits to get out of the garage in front of Bannister, the better for Mikey.
Yes.
I mean, he's already eating into that window. It's about 20 seconds. It's probably already too late for him to get in and out before Bannister.
So old Dad's closing the gap once again on his teammate. He's got a lot of overtake saved up as Chewy comes out of the pits. We'll see if this is the lap where old Dad's wants to bring the fight back to his teammate. So he's right behind him as they come around turn 11 and onto the back straight, and old Dad's started using a little bit of overtake, and now he's back on it. Switches to the inside. And oh, they're jostling for position, and great driving from Strident to stay in front for the time being. But Old Dad's sending it down the inside once again. But he goes wide, and Strident takes the lead once again.
Great driving from the Racing Point cars there. All playing into Mikey's hands though, because Mikey's on much older tyres and still able to maintain that 4-second gap. But Mikey's in the pits.
Yeah, you said he might be in soon, and oh, Old Dad's going through again. This time at turn 1, but a beautiful switchback from Strident as he retakes the lead.
Gotta say hats off to Old Dad's there, because Old Dad's on the softer tyres, they're much more worn.
He will
They'll
be
in a
losing
much
grip.
worse state. Oh, and Mikey just out behind Bannister.
So then, championship battle back on for the time being.
This is all going to pan out with the strategy. Mikey on a medium set of tyres. If he can just stick to the back of Bannister just for another
Here
5 or
comes
so
Old
laps.
Dad's once again. They're going side by side into turn 12. Strident trying another switchback, but this time Old Dad's is able to keep the lead.
Both still on the threshold of penalties. It seems the more that they're battling, the less they're picking up warnings.
Yeah.
Chewy getting very close to the back of Sega to Cars. Chewy on fresh, soft tyres, so he'll be looking to get this move done. Oh no, and Strident has now picked up his 5th penalty, meaning that is an automatic position drop in the final standings.
Struggling to keep up with his teammate through Sector 1 there. But he's had a good start to Sector 2, and he's within DRS range.
Looking at the timing sheet, Mikey's doing a great job staying on the back of Bannister on the harder compound, and Chewy is having a look around Sega to Cos around Sector 1 and definitely got much more traction around here. We just can't seem to get the move past.
Chewy with a lot of overtake to work with, and he'll have DRS down the back straight, so he'll be looking to get this move done. Sega to Cause going defensive to the inside. Chewy happy to go around the outside, and he's through really before the braking zone, so an easy one for Chewy there. Mikey really sticking to the back of Bannister though, despite being on the harder compound. Medium tire.
What was the time difference between the two tyres supposed to be? Obviously fresh.
When they're both fresh, there's a 1.3 second difference between
Wow.
the medium and the soft, so big advantage to have fresh soft tires, but of course Bannister with 9 lap old softs, those will be starting to wear down. So they might have similar amounts of grip at this point in time.
Dastardly looking to come in, 24 laps on their medium tyres. Probably enough, which is unfortunate because looks like he made his way past Prev.
And it'll be interesting just thinking about the championship here. If Mikey can carry these tires to the end, then Bannister will surely have to do another pit stop. But if Mikey has to pit before the end of the race, then Bannister could be right there to challenge at the end.
Yeah, because the safety car could come out and they could both pit and go on the same tyres and just take the race all the way to the end. But if Mikey stays on these tyres and Bannister pits, if Bannister put on a set of softs, if he's got a set, which he'll be entitled to do because he's already had the mediums on once, he would be rapid after that pit stop. And Mikey saving 20 seconds from another pit stop, he would be a lot slower than Bannister after that stop. Oh, and Stridey picks up another penalty. That's now 2 position drops. Oh, and Old Dads has also picked up another one, so Old Dads is automatically demoted too. Which means we could have Bannister and Mikey first and second in this race yet.
Mikey struggling through Sector 1, falling back a bit from Bannister. Bannister will be happy to break DRS. Just get a little bit of breathing space behind.
10 laps on those softs though, it's going to be another 5 laps and he's going to be feeling it.
Yeah, I wonder what Bannister's thinking here. If he really stretches those softs that he's got on, he can go on to another set of softs for his final stint, but he would be losing a lot of grip if he stays out that long on these softs.
Chewy showing some pace and now a second behind Mikey. So we may have a driver interrupt this championship battle.
Yeah,
just
Mikey's
come along and say, "Excuse me, I'm here too."
Mikey just struggling to. He kept up with Bannister for a couple laps there, and it was really impressive to see that being on the medium tire, but he's struggling to keep up now. He's over 2 seconds back. And now Chewy's maybe looking to have a go at him here.
Yeah, this will play into Bannister's hands as Chewy has DRS on Mikey. He seems to be having trouble with his DRS button though, because he only opened it fractionally there. So all the time that Chewy is behind Mikey, and Mikey having to defend, that's going to buy Bannister a little bit of time.
Mikey has picked up the pace a little bit this lap. He's closed slightly to Bannister in front.
And Bannister pits.
Yeah, Bannister into the pits. And he's on to fresh mediums.
Letdown Estate also pits. So, as you said before, if Mikey's looking to take these mediums to the end, because it looks now like Bannister could be trying to take these mediums to the end, and Mikey just has 4 extra laps where to deal with.
Yeah,
and
I think
he's got 20 odd seconds to Bannister now.
Yeah, if you're Mikey here, I don't think you really have much of a choice. You kind of have to stay out and make these mediums work the rest of the way. I think he should be able to. Shouldn't have too much trouble, but they will be worn on the closing laps. But with his main rival pitting now for mediums, that means Bannister will have a good bit of wear on his tires as well. So
I think it depends how the game plays out, because if I was Mikey and with about 15 laps left to go, if I could see that Bannister was 15 seconds behind me, you'd think I can easily put on some softs, get back out, chase him down, get in front of him, and run away. But it all depends how the game plays out, because we could have again another safety car soon, and then they're both pit, they're both on the same tyres, and that decide the race for us. I mean, they've both had little incidents in the race. Mikey didn't have a great lap one, losing positions. Bannister's had to have an unscheduled pit stop due to wing damage. Mikey's now under threat from the Alfa Romeo of Chewy behind him. But if I was feeling a bit of pressure as Mikey now, I'd probably just let him go.
yeah, Chewy on soft tires and has been all over the back of them for a couple laps.
I'd let him go and I'll have DRS myself for a few laps instead. But Chewy might make that decision for him now, as he has a look on the inside, coming down towards turn 12 and easily done the move before the braking zone.
Yeah, Mikey not fighting it too hard there. He knows he's not fighting Chewy. Bannister 17 seconds behind his main rival.
Dastardly picking up a penalty, but he's now looking like he's going to at least get a bit of a race with his teammates. Both Ferrari cars very low in the points, but as we discussed earlier about the Constructors' title, Ferrari's not looking too good at the moment. Brev now on the tail of CHM. That was tight, wasn't it?
Yeah, CHM now pulling into the pits.
20 laps on them soft tyres.
Tell you what, Old Dads has been able to make his softs last up front. Been able to keep his teammate comfortably behind.
Good point, actually. You'd have thought that the tyre wear would be the other way around. That Old Dads would be really struggling. And they both still have all of their wing that I can see. And Old Dads is in the pits onto a set of mediums, which he can comfortably take to the end now with 21 laps left to go.
His teammate probably going to come in soon, 22 lap old mediums, although Strident could stretch those a few more laps and then go on to a set of softs for the final stint.
Although that does show the pace of these Racing Point drivers.
Yes.
Old Dads has managed to pit and get back out and still be in second place.
Yeah, Mikey was correct in predicting that those two would be his biggest threats for this race.
I mean, there's still a fight with Bannister at the moment, albeit looking very one-sided. It was very unfortunate for Dastardly to be involved in that incident near the start where he was losing traction and came off and lost half of his wing, which just put him out of the race for now.
This has been really the story of the season, though. In this race, we see a couple of drivers that are very quick, but racking up the penalties. A couple other drivers very quick, but have had their incidents in Dastardly and Bannister. But Mikey has done all the right things, pushed all the right buttons, and just been consistent throughout. Avoided mistakes, and he will, I think, get on the podium at the very least today. And that's what he's done all season long, and it will be enough at the moment to wrap this title up.
Coming out in front of Mikey. But yeah, as the season was going on, I mean, Mikey's not dominated. He's, as you say, I think the key is consistency.
Yes.
Because this was the season where we had the first 8 rounds had 8 different winners.
Yeah. But Mikey, over the course of the season, this is round 19. He's only missed the podium 5 times. That is an incredible record of consistency in a league that's as competitive as this one.
And there's something I want to say, but I'm not going to until the end of the race. But we also had Steve-O in fight as well, but Steve-O having dropped from AL1 due to lack of pace, and then that string of wins kind of shown that maybe he did more live in AL1 than in AL2, because there is a difference in pace between the two leagues.
Yeah. Steve-O doing well in AL1. He's got decent amount of points the last couple races, so that's good to see. And we expect Mikey and likely Bannister as well to be joining AL1 if they desire.
Sega picking up a penalty there. Strident really showing his pace, after coming out of the pits in front of Mikey, he's now 4 seconds up the road.
Bannister has been able to close the gap, and I just wonder if maybe penalty situation could keep him alive here. Because Mikey only has 3 seconds, but if Mikey picks up another, then that's a more realistic gap for Bannister to close by the end of this race, I think.
I think if Bannister scores 2 more points than Mikey this race, that will... I don't think that will be enough. I think that will put him... That puts him 78 points behind, as Dastardly is looking to make the move on his teammate for 8th position. Very close battle between the two Ferrari cars here. Prev picks up penalty, trying to chase down the car of Sega de Cos. Oh, I'm missing the fact that Strident just got past Chewy. Bannister is closing that gap to Mikey. He's just took another second off. Yeah, so as I was saying, if Bannister scores 2 points more than Mikey, that will put him 78 points behind him. There's only 78 points left to win in the last 3 rounds, so I think that will mean that Mikey will have won it anyway. So Bannister has to score 3 more points. So if Bannister gets second and Mikey gets third, the title fight is still alive, albeit that Bannister will have to get the win and the fastest lap in the last 3 rounds, and Mikey score no points.
Think who is the fastest lap at the moment?
At the moment, Strident does.
Okay, so don't think either of Mikey or Bannister will have an opportunity to go for that fastest lap, so that won't come into play.
Although, like I say, Mikey could decide, I'm going to put some softs on, I'll come out 10 seconds behind Bannister, but I'm going to be 1.3 seconds a lap faster. So I might be able to make that back. It might be a risky move, but...
Ferrari's having a good scrap here as Dastardly and a Letdown Estate have gone back and forth. Dastardly will be looking to come back at his teammate down the back straight. Letdown Estate going very defensive, covering off the inside, and they'll go side by side into turn 12.
And Dastardly don't have much overtake.
Side by side through turn 13 and 14 as well, and they'll stay side by side. Wheel to wheel all the way through this sector, but Dastardly's finally able to get in front of his teammate. It's great driving from both Ferrari drivers.
Can Dastardly keep the position whilst his teammate has got DRS behind? They both make it past Prev, who was in the pits. Oh, and Strident suffering more. Strident now with 24 seconds of penalties. Not only is he going to drop a lot of places by the end of the race, he's also going to be demoted in the final standings. I can't even figure out how many times. It's 8 penalties, that is. 8 penalties. So he's going to drop 4 places after he's dropped 24 seconds.
Who's up for another round of a Ferrari battle as I let down a stage challenging his teammate once again into turn 12, but Dastardly going defensive on the inside is able to maintain 7th. Well, Letdown Estate just needed a bit more straight to make that move into turn 12.
Chewy pitted for some fresh softs. Looks like we wanted to take them softs to the end now, with 15 laps to go. Now Chewy on some fresh softs, but I know Chewy's got some pace around here. He is within a second of Bannister. So this will affect our championship battle as Chewy again comes and gets involved. Chewy. 3/10 behind Bannister now. If Bannister was a clever man, he will be letting Chewy go. Because the more he battles with him now, the more time he's going to lose in his battle with Mikey.
Yeah, and here comes Chewy switching to the inside. Clean through in turn 1. Now if Bannister can try and stick to the back of him and maybe get DRS off him a couple times, that will help him close the gap. But Bannister struggling to keep up.
Ooh, is he inside?
Very close to that 1 second mark.
Did he get it? It was right on the edge.
He hasn't
No, he
got
didn't.
DRS.
I mean, it's not going to cost Bannister much time, but he isn't going to be gaining anything from the slipstream as Chewy's marching away from him. Chewy picks up a purple sector too.
And now, once again, we have the racing points out front within a half a second of each other. As Strident has got himself on the softs for his final stint. His teammate on the mediums, so he's trying to make a move to take the lead.
It is a shame that these guys are going to be dropping positions, and Chewy with the fastest lap with a 1:34.2, taking that point away from Strident. These two racing points just gave us a phenomenal showing of pace around here in America, but the track limits has penalised them to the point where they probably won't be on the podium.
Yeah, and Old Dad's not able to do much here. His teammate on the grippier tire got a much better exit out of turn 11 and got DRS. So Strident takes the race lead once again.
Dastardly in the letdown estate, continuing their battle for position. I'm not sure if these two are just having some fun now and just having a battle with each other. Dastardly doing well to climb some places after that setback from the start.
Bannister's continuing to cut that gap to Mikey.
Yeah. But whilst Chewy's between them, I think that might be Mikey's saving grace for now. We've got 12 laps left this
It'll
race.
be interesting to see once Chewy catches Mikey, because he looks like he's going to do so fairly soon. How much time does that lose Mikey? Because Bannister didn't lose much time, if any. When Chewy got past, he just sort of went through down the main straight and was clean through turn 1. But we'll see if Chewy's able to make a similar move with Mikey, or if it costs Mikey a little more time.
As I say, to keep the title fight alive, Bannister is going to have to score 3 or more points than Mikey.
Is Chewy going to be classified in this race?
That's another question.
I don't believe he is. Also,
No.
with the penalty situation for 1 and 2, I think... Let's see the number they have. Try to break this down. So I believe at the moment Strident would be dropping to 5th, which would promote both Mikey and Bannister up a place. But then Old Dad's... Ooh, Old Dad's picking up more.
But, you know, you've also got to account for the fact that Strident's going to drop 27 seconds before that as well.
Ooh.
So Strident's going to drop down to somewhere
yeah,
around
I think
5th anyway. He's going to drop to 5th and then he's going to drop off.
I think, yeah, so the top 2 will not be the top 2.
No, the top 2 are going to be down like 7th and 8th at least.
So if Chewy gets in front of Mikey, he will effectively take the lead.
Yes.
Mikey will be 2nd, Bannister will be 3rd. So then, if Bannister gets in front of Mikey, he will likely finish 2nd and Mikey 3rd, which would keep the title fight alive.
Yes, but then if Chewy isn't classified, then that will promote Bannister to 1st and Mikey 2nd, which means the title fight is even more alive because he would have got 7 extra points rather than 3 extra points.
And here comes Chewy on Mikey coming into turn 1. Now then we
Bannister
see...
only has to gain 3 seconds on Mikey and he's...
This is very interesting now. So we see the gap between our 2 championship leaders. And Mikey losing time in this first sector because of the dirty air. It's 5.5 seconds now.
There's so many things that could happen. Bannister could just exceed the track limit enough for a 3rd time to get a penalty the same as Mikey. Then he has to take him on track. Mikey could pick up another penalty, which would guarantee it for Bannister for now. And anything else could happen because they've both been caught up in traffic and incidents. And it's not too late for a safety car.
No.
The safety car would probably hurt Mikey more than it would help him.
Yes. So Bannister then, driving for his championship life, here with just a little over 8 laps to go.
Has Bannister got enough left on them medium tyres? 5 lap younger tyres than Mikey's.
I think as Bannisters start to wear, Mikey's will be wearing that much more because they're just that bit older. I'll tell you what, if Bannister is able to keep this championship alive after having that incident and that extra pit stop, it will be very impressive.
Dega now claiming that fastest lap extra point. I just keep seeing Bannister around the 5.2 second mark.
He is closing that gap down a little bit this lap. So we will ride on board with Bannister and watch him try to close this gap. He's got to close it 2 seconds before the end of the race. And that will keep the championship alive. If he doesn't, Mikey is our AL2 champion.
All a bit tense for a Friday night. Now it's back to 5 seconds. Oh, just can't. I can't keep watching it. I'm going to come back to it.
It is very close, but I think Mikey has gained some time here in the last half a lap or so.
I mean, they're going to be wanting to push the limits so that they can gain as much time as they possibly can, but they don't want to push the limits to the point where they're going to be awarded another penalty.
I think Bannister is much more confident through Sector 1. He's cutting nearly half a second there. That seems to be a pattern where he's gaining time most laps. He's got the gap below 5 seconds now.
I mean, at this rate, he's not going to do it because he's gaining, but it's only a few tenths a lap.
He was gaining at a much quicker rate.
So yeah.
Before a few laps ago, and Mikey's sort of slowed it down, but say that, and he's gained a lot of time this lap.
However, elsewhere on track, we've got Prev now in DRS range of a letdown of state. Prev on younger tyres. So can he close the gap and get the overtake done on a letdown of state? Not on this occasion.
And Bannister now under that 4-second mark. He's had a little bit of a slow couple of corners at the end there of the S's, but he continues to gain. A little wide at turn 11, but oh, that one cost him a few tenths there.
Prev now very close to the back of a letdown of state. Having to back off for taking a different line through the S's in a letdown of state.
Just over a second in this championship. That is the difference as it stands between Mikey winning or Bannister forcing it to Mexico, and Bannister's got a 3-second penalty.
As Prev is having a look on the inside of turn 12 on a letdown estate, and he gets the job done. And that is bad news for the championship fight. Bannister picking up that 3-second penalty. I don't think he can close 4 seconds now.
And all Mikey has to do now is just keep it within the white lines, avoid track limit penalties and warnings, and he will surely be our champion today.
Bannister will be cussing himself for that.
He has put up an incredible fight, such a great drive, just to put it to the point where we were on the edge of our seats here with 6 laps to go.
It's been well, still on the edge of my seat because anything can happen.
Yeah. Bannister was such an unfortunate incident earlier in the race, having to take an extra pit stop to repair his wing.
Yeah, he's done an incredible recovery drive to get back up to where he's going to be. Strident is now 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
That is unbelievable. I think if he gets 2 more penalties, he's actually disqualified from the race. Oh, and his teammates just overtaken him.
Ooh, they're going back and forth. Old Dad's not able to make it stick.
only a few laps left to go. This could bring an exciting end to our championship fight. Though I must say, I think the championship battle is still going to be very much alive. The Ferrari cars are quite low standings right now, but with the penalties of the top two drivers, that will promote them. But CHM being behind them two cars will not help the cause. Bannister now within 3 seconds of Mikey. Rev being awarded a 3-second penalty. Letdown Estate and Prev also to be demoted in the final standings come the end of the race. Probably not as far as Strident, but it will all have an effect on the final scores.
If Bannister had avoided that 3-second penalty, he'd be right there.
Though we don't know how close Mikey is from his 3 seconds being 6th.
Mikey did pick up that 3-second penalty quite early on in the race.
Yeah. I've done it myself before, picking up a penalty on the final lap of a race to cost you. Oh, and then Letdown Estate gets the 3-second penalty. Just as I said that, it popped up. Noel Dads with another penalty.
Say Bannister has closed the gap nearly a second this lap.
I think we can see where the Racing Point drivers get their pace from there. On the wrong side of the white line as they make contact around turn 1. There is no love lost between these two cars today.
So Bannister making up nearly a second on that lap. If he can do that over the course of the next 3 laps, he will have a chance to push the title fight to Mexico. But it's gonna take everything from the Mercedes driver.
It's going to be difficult to figure out the full final standings, but we can look
Bannister
at the top
absolutely nailing Sector 1 there.
So you can see Mikey now. He might even be able to benefit from some slipstream.
Just 1.4 seconds.
Mikey's got a lot of overtake in comparison though to Bannister. Got more in the tank to defend with. As these two are coming round. Final sector. Ooh, and Mikey's teammate picking up a penalty. As we're now coming on to the final 2 laps for this championship battle.
2 to go.
Mikey trying to avoid the slipstream from Bannister at all costs.
If Bannister can nail the first sector like he did last lap, he might get an opportunity to have DRS down the long back straight, and that will be vital. Oh, and just a little there. Mikey's
Yeah,
able to keep it over a second for the time being.
That's with assistive overtake, that is. Mikey had his overtake on to get out of that DRS zone. Neither of them using DRS now. Down this straight, I think they're saving it for the final battle. Final lap. The two Racing Point cars begin their final lap. Outstanding pace from them two cars today.
Now Bannister inching under that 1 second window.
Yeah, he didn't manage DRS on that first activation zone.
He will be dealing with some dirty air now through this first sector.
Both of them must be very cautious of these track limits now, because a penalty at this point will seal the victory for the other driver. Must also say, outstanding race from Chewy to be in third place with no penalties.
And now it is now or never for Bannister, as he's gonna have DRS. But Mikey using all his overtake to push the gap, and he is pulling away down the straight. Mikey's staying in front into turn 12.
Great job defending there. Bannister down to 6/10 behind, but in the penultimate sector he wasn't able to get the move done.
Just half a second in it, and Mikey's taking a terrible angle into that corner. And Bannister can see his championship hopes right in front of him. As we come towards turn 19 for the final time, can Bannister make some magic happen? Mikey's able to stay in front. Just one corner to go for Mikey to claim his championship. He's done it! Mikey is our AL2 champion!
Well done, Mikey! That was unbelievable. 5/10 in that race. After that awful start from Mikey, dropping positions on lap 1, Bannister having to do that extra pit after the wing damage, 4 laps on the mediums. Outstanding race. And I've got to say, Chewy, race winner, being promoted after the penalty time drop from the 2 racing points. Mikey and Bannister promoted to the podium after our wheel-to-wheel rule of being demoted after so many penalties. Just waiting for CHM to cross the line and complete round 19 of season 15 of Wheel2wheel AL2. An outstanding finish there. Chewy, well-deserved driver of the day. Here we are looking at the podium. Chewy rightfully taking that top step. No penalties throughout that race. There was only a few drivers that managed to finish the race without any penalties.
Yeah, then the Racing Point on that second step, but will be demoted due to league rules with his penalties. Which would put Mikey as well as Bannister on the podium. And we are joined now by Bannister. Well,
what a race that was.
What a finish. You were so close to getting Mikey right there at the end. What were you thinking?
Yeah, we could see you was chasing down Mikey, who had 3 seconds, and you had none at the time, and you was about 6 seconds behind when you started. You got. But I guess your strategy had to change after a little incident where I think you ran into the back of Strident and you had some wing damage.
Yeah, gotta
You
say
did an
though,
outstanding recovery drive
yeah,
from there.
from there, the fact that you still made it so close and nearly kept your championship hopes alive, that was incredible to watch. So well done on that. Yeah, we've tried convincing him, but yeah, and you can just speak on, I know you're good friends with Mikey. You've been driving together for a good while, and you guys have had some great battles throughout the course of this season, and now he is the champion. So any thoughts about that?
Yeah, Mike has come a long way from the last few seasons. I think 2 seasons ago he was my teammate, and he's much a different driver now from when he was teammates with me. Maybe he's got a better teammate.
Yeah, as we spoke about that a few times over the course of the season. He's only missed the podium 5 times, and we're through 19 races. So
I
even
can
though
say now as well, he hasn't DNF'd this season yet either, and nor has his teammate. But I didn't want to say that during the race. There's many a times when I've called commentators curse. 30 laps in, I go, we haven't had a safety car yet, and then one comes out.
Yeah, well done for pushing him all the way there. Bannister will be on the podium. Yeah, he will be on the podium after Racing Point will get demoted. So well done to get yourself back on the podium, and well done for second in the Drivers' Championship for the time being. Well done.
Yeah, fantastic drive, Bannister. How do you see next season? Is it going to be AL1 hopes for yourself? You've certainly got some pace, but there is shockingly a big difference between the two leagues. Obviously, Matt and myself racing AL1, but we're nowhere near the top.
Yeah,
there's a big difference.
Yeah, we would love to have both of you in AL1. You guys are both quick and clean and great to race with the times that I've been on track with you. Yeah, that's what we love to see. So, yeah, well done. Thanks for
Cheers,
joining.
Bannister. Well done again.
Yeah, good luck the rest of the season. Well then, that will wrap things up from the US Grand Prix. Just Mikey is our Season 15 AL2 champion. But still 3 races to go, so we will be back next week for the Mexican Grand Prix. We will see
I
them.
still think we have a constructors up for grabs.
Ooh, yes.
So we will see how the battle for that continues in the next 3 rounds.
Yep. See everybody next week. Thank you for watching.